Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Andromeda's Edge, which is brought to you by Cardboard Alchemy. It's for 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, and games generally run about 40 minutes per player. Behold, Andromeda's Edge, a dazzling, uncharted region of space on the edge of the Andromeda galaxy, littered with the modular debris of the precursor civilization, patrolled by malicious intergalactic raiders, and bordered by dense nebula. The Edge is a last resort for the brave and foolhardy who seek a new life beyond the oppressive reach of the Lords of Unity. In this game, you lead a desperate faction seeking to build a new civilization on Andromeda's Edge. You begin with only a space station, a few ships, and a handful of resources. By carefully placing your ships, you will gather resources, claim moons, acquire modules to add to your station, populate planets, and build developments on them. You will battle opponents and compete with others to ascend the progress tracks: science, industry, commerce, civilization, and supremacy. On your turn, you either launch a starship or return your ships to your space station. Launching sends one of your starships to a region of Andromeda, either collecting resources from planetary systems or taking actions at Alliance bases. If the region is occupied by your opponents or fearsome raiders, face off in a dice battle, with supremacy on the line, but where strategic manipulation can turn a loss into a reward. Returning to your station allows you to activate your engine, using your modules you've acquired to generate energy, gain resources, and carry out actions. Throughout the game, you will build up your unique faction, building developments, observatories, factories, spaceports, cities, and obelisks, and gaining station modules, which move you up the progress track. Advancement on the track is rewarded both during mid-game and events, and at the conclusion, and is the key to victory. So that's really the basics of gameplay. And you know what, there's some great videos out there already, some great overviews, some really nice ones about the different types of factions and what they do, as well as some differences between this and Dwellings of Eldervale. But you know, my video is gonna be a little bit different as well, trying to keep things variable as you take a look at this game and try to decide for yourself if it looks like something for you. Now, I'm going to focus on some of the things I find really fascinating about this version and what you're doing. And now, the short of it is that it's a worker placement. You're going to grab your spaceships in this version and bring them out to the Andromeda galaxy and do various things. Now, it is a points game, and you can play a lighter or medium or harder version doing 50, 60, or 70 points, but really, you could set the point value whatever you want. And there are all kinds of ways to get points in this game, just so many. So it really, you can be a jack of all trades, you can try to focus on things. I like the fact that you could really mix and match how you will play each time. And of course, playing the different factions is going to be key to that. And I really like how the workers work, how Luke Laurie does this. You know, you bring workers out, the spaceships out into the galaxy, or you pull them back to your player board and activate your different modules. Now, the modules you're gonna be adding on, we'll take a closer look at because it's one of my favorite parts of the game, but you really do create this engine, and you can start to trigger those, not only with the ships that you bring back, but with planets and various things like energy you can use to activate the different things in your modules. Now, the modules are gonna do all kinds of different things, get you resources, points at the end of the game, you can get cards, and of course make repairs and so forth after you've gone into battle, and maybe you need to do that. So lots of different things here, and we're gonna focus on some of the really neat aspects for sure. Now, one of the main key aspects of the game is the fact that you have these different factions, all with different abilities, different ships, special ship upgrades, I should say, and on the back of each of these factions will show what your starting resources are. But I like all their different special abilities. Like for the Cloud People, if you're next to a nebula at the start of your turn, you're going to gain either ice or energy. So there's lots of different things and different directions and how you play each time, depending on which of these factions that you're going to use and play with. Now, I think that is a fantastic aspect, and it doesn't matter what color you are, because they've given you a nice spot on your player board to place your faction card. So it is a really nice aspect of the game, giving you a lot of replay variability and how you approach the game. So you have several different types of resources you'll be managing through the course of the game. You've got titanium, you've got nanocarbon, you've got ice, you've got credits, which credits are kind of universal and they act as a wild for those titanium, nanocarbon, and ice resources. And you'll see when you go out to build the different buildings or developments that you'll need those types of resources for sure. But you've also got energy, and you have these tactic cards. Tactic cards are going to give you options through the course of the game, give you more actions that you can tap into, or giving you benefits when you go into battle. But the energy is key. That's how things get done. I love the reference in the rule book that says that. It's really good. It is how things get done. Energy really helps you in many ways, and you can actually use energy when you go into battle. It is just a dice roll off, but energy can augment your dice rolls and so forth. And you can also use energy when you go back to your player board and use your different modules. You can chain those different things together and fire off several modules depending on how you put things together and how well you use that energy. And there are several different types of ships that you'll be using through the course of the game for various reasons. And you're going to start the game with transports. You get 3, and you'll have to visit and do various things, get resources and so forth in order to build more ships. Now, you have these ships on your player board, but there's also upgrades, and you have your special upgrade depending on your different type of faction you're using, and you'll have to pay the cost to get these ships to your player board and so forth. So when you launch in the game, which is one of your 2 options on your turn, you can launch your workers or your ships into the edge, or you can return them all back to your player board. So when you launch, if it's your first time putting them out there, you can put them anywhere. But if you're putting additional ships out, then they have to be within range of another ship you have in play. Now there's 3 different types of places you're going to be going. You've got planets, you've got nebula, and you've got the different alliance bases. Alliance bases are what's going to trigger and allow you to do various things like shipbuilding. You go to the shipyard, or you're going to go to the development office to build structures out onto the planets. But the main thing about going to a planet is getting resources. You'll get a moon token, if there is a moon token, and you can put that moon token on your player board for later use. Or if there are no moon tokens left, you just get the resources that it shows on that planet. So you're basically mining to get those resources. And the key thing here is that you need resources to do just about everything in the game. So again, there's lots of things you'll be doing out in the edge as you put ships out there and so forth, go into battles. You'll have raiders to deal with. If you happen to be in range or in a location where they are, you'll have to battle it out, or you'll be battling against your fellow players. These are all just dice rolls, like I said, and you can use energy to get additional dice and so forth. But your ships all list exactly how many dice you can use in battle, and some ships even have a shield that you can put into play and so forth. So anyway, there's lots of things going on in the galaxy itself, but let's take a look at the top of this board where you have the different tracks. Now, these are the tracks that you'll be hopefully moving up and gaining even more victory points through the use of these. So you've got the science track, you've got the industry track, and you have the supremacy track. And of course, the last 2 here are commerce and civilization. Now, depending on your development, which buildings you put into play, and there are 5 different types, will help you move up these tracks. You also can move up these tracks by buying the modules, which is one of my favorite parts of the game, is these modules. So that's the next thing we're going to look at. Buying one of these modules and putting in play will help you move up those tracks as well. And in the supremacy track, battles in general will help you move up this track. So lots of different ways to move along here, and in variations. And again, maybe being the jack of all trades will help you get the maximum points that you're looking for in this game. And along these tracks, you'll see various icons that will trigger based on where you move along different levels of buildings. You'll have events that get triggered. You'll pull the card and various things can happen here. We have a comet storm giving you resources and so forth. So lots of different things can happen along these tracks. And you'll have tokens here that you can potentially gather along the way as well, giving you potentially resources or different things that allow you to repair ships if they've been damaged, like this one. But there's definitely an advantage to moving up that track first and triggering these different things. These station modules are probably my favorite aspect of the game. Now you have to purchase them. You'll see the resource cost above the module that you want to buy. You'll pay it and put it into play off of your space station. Now the thing is, your player board is double-sided. So depending on where you sit around the board, you have room to build. You can flip it over and build off to the side. Now you have to decide also, are you gonna be a jack of all trades? You're gonna focus on one of these, but again, they're gonna do various things. They're gonna give you more different types of resources, or they may even allow you to move up these tracks. So they're really powerful, and some have slots to put moons in that you've gathered. So giving you different things like victory points. So it does give you a lot of different options as you put these into play and how you put your engine together. And I really like that aspect because depending on which ones are up, really varies on how you build that out, and the variation in gameplay is fantastic. But you are after resources. There's a lot of that going on. So you want to put together an engine that channels these things and gives you lots of resources. Now, you do have limits on how many resources you can put into place. So you need to keep that in mind as well. And I really like the theme around these. These are the remnants of that precursor civilization that we talked about at the beginning of the video. And some might even be damaged when you buy them. So you have to repair them before you can use them, and they can even become damaged. Maybe tacked cards will do some of that. But those are interesting, but they might be really powerful. So you were like, oh, it's damaged, but I really need that. I'll have to work on fixing it up and so forth. So lots of ways to go, like I said. And those are really key. And then again, that other way to move up this track, other than battling, is to build buildings out into the galaxy. And when you do that, what's neat here is that you have your transport that you have to have in play, one of these little star guys. And you know, this is the deluxe version that I'm showing you, but these buildings actually fit on top of those. And then, you know, that transport is no longer able to return to your player board, but you will be using it for various things based on the type of building that you've chosen. And you even have leaders you'll see out here in the galaxy as well. If you have ships in their location, that you can, as a free action, grab those leaders, and there's slots on these buildings that you can slot and get additional victory points for doing so. So when you put them into play, you have to be very mindful of the different planets you're on and what the resource cost is and what it's going to take to build it there. Now, they're going to obviously affect all the other players and leaders that are out there as well, which is interesting, but you really hope to be the one to put it into play and build upon it. And I really like, again, this tactile experience around these buildings. Really neat indeed. So that's more of a broad overlook at this game. And I really, again, I love the engine building. I love the station modules, as well as the developments, the buildings you put on planets. That aspect of those aspects of the game, I should say, add so much flavor for me. And it just, the theme overall, I enjoy quite a bit. And I like the battles. They're super simple, easy. You're just doing dice roll-offs, which I like dice in games. So that works for me quite well. But again, you know, it's all that resources that you're pulling in and spending, pulling in and spending, and building your engine to build up those resources so you can get bigger and better ships to do various things in the galaxy. Again, there's a lot going on, a lot of directions you could go in this game, so it's really up to you to decide. And then once one player reaches whatever point limit you've chosen, then you have additional scoring. Again, the handy reference guide will show you exactly what all the different scoring is, but there's so many different ways to get points in this game. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, there's lots of great videos out there. You should definitely go check out some of the others because they go in different directions as well, talking maybe more specifically about the factions, which those factions really add a lot to the game about the direction perhaps you're going to play in and what you might do for that particular session. But the theme of this one really works for me. I liked it a lot. You know, I really did enjoy Dwellings of Eldervale as well, but this one I like a little bit better. The thing here is that the different types of ships that you're using and building, you feel like you're actually at the shipyard doing those various things. And when you buy the different station modules, you feel like you're adding on to your space station. Again, I'm a very thematic gamer, so that feels very theme-based for me as you build it out and manage those resources and basically do all the things in the galaxy. The development of the buildings, you know, all these different tracks add so much to the game. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it for me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.